Tuesday on the show, we go through our lists of who gets it and who doesn't here. Let's start with Judd. Who gets it and who doesn't in the landscape of sports, the world, wherever you want to go?
Well, the world, I'm not going to start there because there's just too much. I'm going to start with a who doesn't get it, and it's going to be extremely unpopular on this show and elsewhere, and I just don't care anymore. The National Football League. Let's cut to the chase here.
Oh, boy.
Quantity over quality has gotten out of control. The 7 seeds, I know they add extra games, but my God, I believe that the 2 7 seeds that played over the weekend were beaten by a combined average score of 18.5 points.
You're wrong about
the 7 seeds. I know, that's what I just said. I just said you guys are both going to disagree vehemently, and I love that fact. The playoffs, okay, lots of games. Awful. 1 great game, 1 competitive game, 4 games, awful. 2 games, unnecessary.
But why is it the NFL that doesn't get it?
Right,
we had some dud games. Who cares?
Because I care, and here's the other problem. And Royce, full credit, Patrick brought this up on Unchained, and he's exactly right. The 2 seeds who are good, who are really good, deserve the bye, because I, as a fan, don't want guys getting hurt against the 7 seed. I want them playing in the more important game the next weekend. The NFL has jumped the shark. This was crap. It was awful. There was 1 good game. Get the 7 seeds at the very least. Get them out. Let's go back to 6 teams. That's who doesn't get it. The National Football League, you greedy bastards.
This is the worst take you've had so far in the first 18 days of 2022.
Nice.
So, first of all, you're saying that, like, the risk of a player getting hurt is one of the big reasons why it's football. Players get hurt in practice. They get hurt
in good games. Don't get them hurt in a piece
It's a playoff game.
It's a playoff. You got to win to get there.
It's a terrible playoff game that doesn't belong. If it's competitive, I would be okay.
Okay, cool. So let's go. Let's just for fun here. Okay, let's look up the 2020 NFL playoffs here.
There was 1 close game.
I am sure that the playoffs were immaculate in 2020.
No, they weren't immaculate, but I want competitive games, and the 7 seed needs to be out. Out.
Yeah, let's see here. So first round on. Of course, they're not showing me the actual games, but there are duds every year in the playoffs. Judd, you could just take the 4 best teams and pare the playoffs down. You're still gonna have dud blowout games. 6. You're mad at the results.
I'm mad at
the results. The results could easily have been. This is the funny thing. If we would have had 2 closer games, which easily could have happened, like there could have just, let's say that
the seeds weren't competitive. Let's say happened. Didn't come close to happening.
Okay, but what you're doing is you're saying that, like, never will the 7 seed versus the 2 seed be competitive, which is false. In the NFL, bad teams beat good teams all the time. There's a ton of parity, but it just so happened that we had a couple dud games. If we would have had 2 closer games, you would have come on today, and your who gets it would have been the NFL for the expansion of the playoffs.
But I told them not to do
100%.
But I told them not to do this. The 7 seeds are crap. They should be out. The NFL, your greed has finally gotten the best of you.
Here's the other thing, too, all right? So the AFC playoff picture was just a hodgepodge. Like, everything was with basically from the 4 seed all the way down to the 12 seed was all within 2 games of each other. Mm-hmm. And we came within the blink of an eye of the Chargers being in the playoffs instead of the Raiders. So, like, and I don't know what the seedings would have been, but, like, if we would have had a Justin Herbert game instead of, like, a Big Ben, or whatever, that's what I'm saying. Like, you're making this judgment because we had a couple dud games over the weekend. And
3 of the 4.
I love me some Super Wild Card
7 seed games in 2 years have been terrible. I'm saying I know that there's going to be blowouts, but I want the 7 seed out because from 7 on down is garbage. I don't want a close race for that seed. I don't want that seed to exist. It stops at 6 seeds. I'm happy.
Okay. Declan, you have to break the tie here.
That Super Wildcard weekend's amazing, and it's playoff football.
It is.
I don't care if the results stink. I line up my Surly Furious. I'm ready to watch some football. I don't care if the 7 seed is a dud. And you know what? Sometimes I like an ass kicking. I like to watch a team
You
kick
like
another
4 of
team's
them?
ass.
You like 4 of them because you got 4 of them.
It was great. It was great. Go watch Gopher Hoops. Go watch Gopher Indiana Rutgers if that's something you don't want to watch. I'd rather watch the 7 seed. No disrespect to the Gophers and Rutgers, by the way.
I was going to say, you just why did you have to rip Ben Johnson? He's done a great job.
Little dry, classic me drive-by on something else that has nothing to do with the topic.
Oh, yeah. Well, to Judd's point, I'm going back to random seasons here, I guess. The wild card weekend in 2015-16 was so much more entertaining because there were fewer teams. Yeah, Green Bay beat Washington 35-18.
Right, that's what I'm saying. We don't need
Kansas
more bad
City
games.
beat Houston 30-0.
You're proving my point. You're proving my point. I don't want more bad games. We're adding bad games.
Seattle and Minnesota, that was the Blair Walsh missed 27-yarder game, combined for 19 points. That was a great fun game to watch.
That's proving my point. We are adding awful games. Why are we doing this?
I would rather watch an awful blowout game than no game.
Yeah. And a game on Monday.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
No. I would rather have everybody on Tampa Bay healthy for their second game. You guys are literally appreciating crap.
It's not crap. It's NFL playoff football.
The 7 seed is crap. It's awful.
How is the 7 seed any different from the 6 seed?
The 6 seed is borderline, but I can't stop that one. A 16-game season and 6 seeds from each conference was
so you're
about
saying
as
there's
good as you can possibly
there's
do.
a huge gap between this year's Steelers and this year's Patriots?
I'm saying the more teams that you allow in the playoffs, you're allowing football incompetence to permeate my television, and my TCL TV doesn't like incompetence. It likes competence. And my God, was there some incompetence this weekend. That's what I'm saying. I knew you guys would hate that take.
Agree to disagree.
I knew you guys would hate that.
Declan, who gets it, who doesn't? I was going to go who doesn't get it, Judd Zulgad, but I figured we'd stop the argument here.
I'll go with a who doesn't get it, and I'll self-report. I will self-report on something who doesn't get it, and I'm going to blame myself here. I don't get it for not giving the Manningcast its due. Last night, I tuned into the Manningcast, gave it the full 4 quarters, and I just want to come on this show and admit that I was wrong about Peyton and Eli Manning being fun, competent football hosts. I was against this.
I'm actually mad about this. You know what?
Why?
You were so ridiculously out over your skis with your Peyton Manning take for years, and now you're coming out and saying the obvious, I gave it a chance, and you're right, he's amazing. I would have rather you come out and say, after taking in 3 hours of the Manningcast, I'm doubling down on my opinion that Peyton Manning is a bore ass. And here
I'd
you
rather
are
watch
with the
these
obvious
guests come
about
on.
face here. Disappointing. How do you denigrate Peyton Manning for all those years?
Do you like them now, Dex?
I like the idea of the show. Like it's kind of awkward still. Like it's kind of awkward. Like when they're still trying to set things up. Like it's still like, oh, that was kind of cringy. And then Peyton even dropping a bad word, which was kind of hilarious. Like there's some cringe parts to them. But I like that The Rock was on. Russell Wilson was must-watch TV. I'd rather watch that than watch what we've been getting from Monday Night Football booths. That's what I liked about it. And that's why I'm saying I didn't get it. That's what I'm saying. I didn't get it, and now I understand it. And I'm all about self-reflection. So I'm okay with admitting that I was wrong. I'm not going to come on here and double down that the Peyton, that Mannings still stink. I still think they're weirdos, but they're kind of awkward, funny guys, I guess. But I love that the guests come on. That adds a new layer to the football game.
Who cares?
I just felt you took a hardline stance for years on Peyton Manning, and now you're like, all right, I gave him a chance, and I like him now.
Well, you know what? I'm so sick of people in this also country like, you have to be on this for the rest of your life. You may not change your mind. Change your mind. Have an open mind about something. What's wrong with that? What the hell is wrong with that? What's wrong with compromising? What's wrong with realizing the way you were looking at things was terrible and was not the right way to look at it? What's wrong with that?
It's just
now I'm being chastised for that?
Yeah, it's a little tough to swallow when your sports brother and your sports dad were sitting here for 2 years saying, dude, no, he's hilarious. Go watch him on SNL. Go watch him on the Manningcast. And you're like, no.
I like the broadcast. I like the broad. It's fun. Get some fun guests on. I think that's a good thing.
By the way, can we, since we're on this path here, who doesn't get it? Whoever formats the NFL's commercial structure, because when The Rock Dwayne Johnson is sipping tequila and talking football and wrestling, and they literally took 8 commercial breaks in the second quarter while The Rock was on. Can we just maybe save 1 or 2 of those for the second half or something? Do we need 8 commercial breaks? And I think there was 2 reviews of plays. There was an injury in there somewhere. Yeah, the 2-minute warning. So I was in on that last night, but they interrupted The Rock, Dwayne Johnson way too much. But you love like The Rock and Russell Wilson somehow with, no actual media experience. At times, those guys were just like taking the wheel and driving the car and hosting the show, and they were better at it than the Mannings.
Peyton dropped off, and Russ just is like,
he's like, all right, Eli, so I'm going to grab the wheel here. Yeah,
it was incredible.
True leadership from The Rock, Dwayne Johnson.
And then you tweeted that.
Russell Wilson.
And Russ Danger liked it.
Russ Danger did. He liked the tweet.
How about that?
Let me see if I can find this here. I think I screenshotted it. I think
He
he's
sent
very
it to us,
insightful.
No, it's good.
Yeah, I'm going to
He's
save
incredible.
this.
He's incredible insight.
I'm never going to wash my phone again. Here,
No,
see if you
no.
guys can see this on the
That's going
screen
to disgust Rami.
Lift up a little bit. There you go.
There you go.
There you go.
Russell
There you go.
Wilson.
here. Danger
And,
Russ.
and that's him. Blue check mark and all.
Yeah, he slid into my DMs too. It's kind of weird. I don't know. It was something about begging to be traded out of Seattle, and he likes
he's
Minneapolis this time.
Do you know
of
much
year.
about
I don't
Minnesota,
know.
Phil?
Yeah. He's like, I'll lower my cap hit. I swear to God, you guys. Okay, back to Judd. Who gets it? Who doesn't?
All right, a positive one. Who gets it? A football player who didn't even play in a game on Saturday, but my God, is he great. Fitzmagic. Ryan Fitzpatrick, who went to the Bills game as a fan, I think with his kid, and at one point in time, in the freezing cold in Buffalo, there is a picture of Fitzmagic with his shirt off.
Yeah.
And he's just having fun.
Primal screaming
and rooting
stuff.
on his bill. You know what? That's awesome. Okay, that's awesome. In an era where everything is taken seriously, it seems like, and there's so much back and forth, negative. I love the fact that this guy just went to the Bills game and became one with the Bills Mafia. That's a guy who gets it. I love it.
That was hilarious, man. Like, how can you not want? I know that I don't think he's ever played in a playoff game. So, like, the only way that he can get to one is to pay his way in, unfortunately. But I would love 1 year of, like, 40-year-old Fitzmagic as a transition quarterback mentoring whoever the Vikings draft. Let's make it happen here. Trade Kirk for, like, a second-round pick. Bring Fitzmagic in. Draft Malik Willis or Carson Strong. And let them be mentored by one of the great characters of all time.
That guy's great, man. No shirt in the Buffalo cold. That's stupid, but it's still great.
All right, Declan, who gets it, who doesn't?
All right, I have a who gets it from the Minnesota Wild side of things. The Minnesota Wild get it for finally giving Kevin Fiala what he needs, and that's a legitimate playmaker on his side in Matthew Boldy. Finally, the Wild are actually leaning into the Kevin Fiala experience and giving him a legitimate playmaker, not banishing him to playing with bums like Frederick Goudreau and just whoever you want to plug in some slappy because he turns a puck over every once in a while. The Wild's first-round pick, Matthew Boldy, has come up here and really awoken things for Kevin Fiala, and both of them have been benefiting from playing with one another. They've only spent 34 minutes of ice time together on the ice, but when they've been on the ice, they have scored 5 goals. They have not allowed a single goal. In the last 10 games, Kevin Fiala now has 6 goals in his last 10. Matthew Boldy's been a point-per-game player. This was the exact kind of thing that the Wild needed to be leaning into beforehand. And they are great dynamic. They are dynamic playmakers who complement one another. And this is exactly what Fiala needs. He needs someone who can also basically ping-pong with himself. And Matthew Boldy, who has a great skill set, is now unleashing Kevin Fiala and vice versa. If Marco Rossi can come up here, you're actually talking about the Wild having 2 legitimate top 6 lines because Matt Zuccarello, Kirill Kaprizov, Ryan Hartman is a pretty good top line, but Fiala and Boldy have now awoken things, and now you have 2 legitimate playmakers in your top 6. Kudos to the Wild for giving Kevin Fiala what they needed.
Get the flag.
Get the flag.
Hold on.
Get the flag.
Get the flag.
Here comes the
There it
flag.
is.
Right, there it
Here comes
is.
the flag.
That's right.
Here it is.
BOLDY. FIALA.
With an appearance from the captain coming up as well. The captain.
Judd finally got his bobblehead.
I finally got
There
my
he
doll,
is,
my
dudes.
bobblehead doll from
Little
Declan. Spurgie's here.
I love how they just put like generic like 30-year-old guy head
This
with
isn't
dark
too.
hair.
This is actually, I think, a good one for these.
looks a
This
little
isn't
bit
a bad
like
one. I mean,
him.
he's got the hair. He's got the spurgy hair.
But I could also make
His
a
neck
case
is
that he looks
sideways,
like
though.
Pee Wee Herman or
Hey, John B.
Jimmy Kimmel. Like it looks like
Jimmy Kimmel.
Jimmy Kimmel.
Skinny Jimmy Kimmel, not the heavier
Yeah.
set Jimmy Kimmel from back in the day.
he fluctuates. All right, I'm gonna stick with winter sports here too. You know who gets it this season in general is the Minnesota Timberwolves. They are decidedly average across the board, and it is a glorious, refreshing breath of fresh air halfway through the season. That's right. Get that flag ready too.
We got
Yes.
flag two. Here it is.
Pat Bev, Jalen Noel.
Jalen Noel.
Don't
Tony
snub
Kim,
Cat.
Tony
Deserves to
Campbell,
be an all-star.
Sam Mitchell. Scott
Doug
Ross,
West,
Doug West.
Dean
Gugliotta.
Garrett,
Trenton
Rasho
Hassel.
Nesterovich. I mean, the Timberwolves, and before I get anyone saying, well, you guys crushed the Vikings for being 500 and you celebrate the Wolves. Well, one franchise has been stuck at the same level for 30 years trying to get their way to Super Bowl. The other one has been stuck at the same level also for 17 years. The bar is lower right now for the Wolves. But so they're, like I said, they're decidedly average across the board. And it's amazing. Like this is kind of what we've been asking for. Just like take a step in this direction. They're one game under 500, 9 seed in the Western, tied actually for the 8 seed in the Western Conference. They are average in point differential. They're exactly 5-5 in their last 10 games. They're 16 and 15 in conference. Like everything screams 500 average, and I'm here for it. That's
Yeah.
all. Like I if you can
Yeah,
finish
you should
500
be.
this season,
Yes,
play in the postseason, even if it's the play-in.
just a playing, little taste.
And
Yeah.
they're 2 games. Or I'm sorry, they're a game and a half back of the 6 seed to avoid the play-in, and they've got some winnable games here. They got the Knicks tonight, and they got some winnable games on the horizon. So it's fun watching me some average Timberwolves basketball.
I feel like the two most talked about men's basketball teams in this town are well coached now. I think Finch can coach. Ben Johnson can. I mean that.
it's so early on Ben Johnson, but there's some great vibes.
There's
Great vibes.
There's something there, man. There's something there. The Hawkeyes were killing them, and they actually came back, and I think that they were without, 3 or 4 players from a roster that's not great to start out with. I just have a feeling about Ben Johnson that they might have hit on something. I might be wrong,
No, I think
but I feel like they'd have.
they
I
show
like him.
fight. They don't give up. And if you get them some better players, which he is, I mean, he's definitely got some players coming in here in the next couple of years.
And there's no BS from him as far as I can tell. Like it's not smoke and mirrors. Oh, look at me. Look at what I'm doing. It's just a very confident, relaxed. I got this. I love that from a coach.
And I think this matters too. Like he actually loves Minnesota and loves being Minnesota and living in Minnesota. And Pitino tolerated Minnesota.
Oh, barely. Yes, I agree. With that
He was always a little perplexed about the way that fans I think he was always a little bit thrown off by. Wait a second, you guys have expectations? Like it's the really? It's I mean this isn't
Outsiders don't
Michigan.
like
This
us
isn't.
sometimes. You're right.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
You know who else gets it? Federated Mutual Insurance Company. They've been helping business owners for over 100 years.
Where's my
They're
flag?
like a good offensive line. Yeah, get the Federated flag.
Here, I'll give them both flags. Woo! Both flags. Federated
Also,
is for you.
I have a flag take here in a second too, but Federated, you can find all sorts of resources and a list of all the industries that they will protect at federatedinsurance.com. Remember, at Federated, it's our business to protect yours. We were we're on a text thread every day, the three of us. And the other day, I remember, I think I said this to you guys, like, Vikings fans, we've been feeding Vikings fans the medicine that they need, right? Like, something's messed up. They got to make some changes. Probably need to make a change at GM, coach, and our quarterback. And it's been a lot of us playing sort of bad cop with the Vikings fan base. We would love nothing more than to wave the flag for the Minnesota Vikings. Judd's got a giant Vikings flag literally behind his head there.
Met
in his
Stadium.
room. Yeah.
Met Stadium. Last game at the Met against the Chiefs.
We would love to wave the Vikings flag,
That
but
flag
they
might fall
need to
apart.
give us a reason to wave the flag.
Yeah,
They
absolutely.
need to earn the flag, like the Wild.
Oh, that
And
could
like the
be
Timberwolves have by being competitive for the
the
first time in
Vikings 2022 slogan. earn the flag.
Earn the flag.
Earn the flag. I like it.
Look, we're not just going to give you the flag because you beat the Lions late in the game at home that you were leading. Like, sorry, not going to happen. You beat
I am
the
being
Bears
worn down, though. I will say that Vikings Twitter is trying to wear Judd Zolgad down.
Are the Cousins Crusaders still coming at you?
Oh God, yeah. And
Like
here's the thing, the weirdest.
But if
ones,
you just give Kirk, if you give Kirk this,
not surprising. I think the angriest screeds and weird ones too are at like 3:30 a.m.
and they're like fake
Well,
weird accounts.
Yeah.
It's like no avatar. It's
Yes.
a guy named Bob with like 7 numbers after his name.
So
And
is
he's,
that like
dying
Kirk's
on a
family?
hill? Maybe there's burner
Just
accounts.
up late at night, mad.
There
switching?
could be burner accounts. We could have a Kevin Durant situation on our hands here.
And
Maybe
for the
Kirk's got
Twins,
15 accounts.
you're just gonna be waiting a long time for flags.
Don't worry about baseball.
Yeah, don't worry about baseball.
Baseball
Although
ain't
they hang those pennants, those division championships.
Oh, but they're not going to be playing. So
I
don't-
see those flags. I go on my walk around Target Field like once a week. I see that 2020 divisional championship pennant hanging off the limestone there.
Dude, we used to. I feel like this show. We used to pride ourselves for years on bringing you the best, in-depth, most fun Twins talk
Yeah,
speculation.
like a year and a half ago.
And now it's like, I mean, I think we've done like one significant Twin segment in the last 6 months.
They're not going to play for months. Don't worry about it.
They barely played last year.
Right, but I mean, the league literally thinks that being locked out, fans are going to give a damn. Fans aren't going to care. There will be some, but not many.
Yeah, if they miss games, like, but
gonna miss
here's the thing. Like, I'm glad that we're on this right now. So we're gonna give you like 90 seconds of Twins and Major League Baseball talk here. It's your lucky day, audience. So this is such a bigger problem for baseball than it's even being reported, because they've got 2 different massive elephant-sized bins of problems. Like, bin number 1 is they're arguing over how to best split the revenue pie, and then how to best like get players to free agency and make it fair. You know, they're trying to figure out the whole financial and payment system and when players can become free agents, team control. Like, there's so much to untangle there. And then there's this other bin that's not even being talked about that needs to be figured out at some point in the next few months. It's how to make the game more fun, appealing, modern, and connect with a younger audience.
Yes.
And I have a feeling that they're going to get so hung up on the financial side of things, and they're not even going to fix all that. They're just going to fix some of it, and it's going to leak into like May and June, that they're going to neglect maybe the bigger thing, which is how do you keep your sport healthy and alive for a current generation that doesn't care about you and future generations that probably won't care about you, right?
Unfortunately, the parallel, and this is both good and really bad, is the 2004-05 lockout by the National Hockey League. Now, the bad is they lost an entire season. The good is because it took so long, they actually came back with a lot of changes in the rules that sped the game up. I mean, Phil, I can't tell you, the first four years of the Wild was damn near unwatchable. And it wasn't just them. That last Stanley Cup between the Flames and Lightning was putrid. Like, it was awful. It was as bad as baseball. But the problem is they lost an entire year. I fear baseball is going to lose a ton of time here, because when they really sit down to talk, they're going to realize the magnitude of their problems.
No.
Like, now it's like, we'll give you almost nothing. Will you take it? Players like, no. But when they really sit down to talk, they are going to have to talk about the fact that this game's in huge trouble.
But like, who's thinking on behalf of the players and
know.
or the league? Who's thinking about these games take too long, they're too slow, they're too boring, everything drags on too much. There's not enough appointment viewing. There's no appointment view. I know it's so localized that, you know, appointment viewing is going to differ compared to the NFL, where like a team from Buffalo can play a team from Green Bay and the entire nation's going to watch it. Baseball doesn't have that power anymore. And someone has to figure out some way to inject some life into the game and make it more must watch and make the offseason more interesting, like it was this year, because you had a deadline before the league shut down. I don't know, man.
The
sucks.
old billionaire white guys have to shut up and listen to players.
And isn't Theo Epstein
have
supposed
the
to be
best-
consulting on behalf of these teams too? Like, isn't he like a special consultant?
I don't know, but it's the players. It's the players who have the best chance to properly point out the problems and probably fixes. Not a bunch of guys who are 65 named Stewart.
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 Is there an owner named Stewart?
I don't know, but it sounds like just some old white guy. Stewart. Hey, Stewart. Yeah, where's my coffee?
I have an uncle.
Where's my
who's
morning Times? I want to read the Times. Where's the Wall Street Journal?
I have a 70-year-old uncle named Stewart. So
Do you really?
yes.
I nailed it. That's twice. The De La Salle date. Now this. I am on fire today.
Hold on, Stewart, MLB owner. I just want to Google this. No, I don't think there is one.
No, but it sounds like an old white guy who might be involved in a team, right? Like, hey, Stewart.
Hey, Stu.
Yes, Ben. Ben, what's going on? Have you gotten your Times yet? No, just this crappy New York Post. I hate the Post. All gossip.
Hilarious. All right, so I don't know. We didn't fix baseball there, but we pointed at all the problems. So good luck fixing it. All right, that's Mackey and Judd today. Write that down, and an accountability session on tomorrow's show, and Alex Boone on Purple Daily today, giving his thoughts on the state of the Minnesota Vikings. See you guys tomorrow.